Hello. So, quick bit of lore drop for those of you that aren't aware. I have a main YouTube channel that I've been running for the last sort of 4 or 5 years. I recently had paused making content on that because I had burnt out for a few reasons. One of those reasons being that I was not finding myself enjoying my day to day. And so it sort of led to this series of, I guess, realizations and changes in my approach towards work, which is much more focused on A, like having fun and enjoying what I'm doing, and B, it's, I guess what I'm calling is like creative polymathy is the approach that I'm taking. If anyone has better names, please do let me know, because there is just something so pretentious about the word polymathy. The idea is that I'm trying to have my toes dipped in a few different projects creatively, and we'll talk a bit more about what those are in a second, with the goal in mind that being in those different fields will influence each other in interesting ways that I think will, on the overall, certainly on the output, will produce better work, but also just allow me to have more fun with what I'm doing, be more creative, experiment a lot, and essentially certainly work through a lot of the issues that I had with perfectionism on my main YouTube channel. And I think I've said this before, but I do plan on returning to the main channel. We'll talk a bit more about that as well. Whether it's possible to jump into all these different fields and do it successfully and make a living from it, I don't know, but we're going to see. And what you're on right now is the Scrapbook channel, which the sole purpose of this exists for me to be able to document the journey, any interesting thoughts that I have, just sitting down to a camera talking. Some of you might have seen my last video, which was on this polymath approach. And if you're curious about, again, more as to why I'm trying to take that approach or why I think it might be helpful to you as well, definitely go and watch that. So this is September update. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a bit about the projects that I've been working on. Some of you may be aware, some of you aren't. I also want to talk a bit about like reading. Reading is something that I enjoy doing. So I'll talk about some books and things that I've been reading. And then I'll also answer like a question that you guys might have. I put this on the community post the other day. So there's two main projects that I'm working on. The first is just this Scrapbook channel is a place where I can, again, put videos out like I did with the last one about the polymath approach, just talk about concepts, ideas, thoughts, things that I've been thinking of and documenting the journey all along, as well as update videos like this. There is something really refreshing about the fact that I could just sit down, put the camera on, talk to it, and like not do any crazy edit and really just have the video done inside of a day and post it. None of my experience on YouTube has been that, right? Since the very first video, I sat down, scripted out a bunch of things. Granted, it was less scripted and processed when I was first making the videos, but it didn't take me a day. It took me a lot longer. I put a lot more thought into it. So it's a very, very different feeling doing this, what I'm doing now, which again is the point of this is to get me used to that. The second project, and really our main big project that I'm working on at the moment. So the thing that I want to learn, that's in sort of the top of my, what I call like the polymath orbit that I have, right? So it's like the key things that you are trying to focus on at the moment. Right now, that main project is our cinematography challenge. So for those of you that do not follow me on Instagram, or even if you're following me on the Scrapbook channel, I've been posting some of these videos you might have seen. The cinematography challenge is essentially, I want to learn cinematography because there is a short film idea that I have called Versions of You that I want to make. And in order to make that, I kind of wanted to develop the skill of cinematography. But in order to develop that skill, I realized I usually like to attach a project to it so that I have a sense of purpose behind what it is that I'm learning and what I need to learn as well. It puts some level of boundaries around what I'm learning, so I don't go on some crazy rabbit hole and try and learn things that I do not need to learn in order to achieve what I'm trying to achieve with the project that I'm aiming for. Hopefully that makes sense. So Versions of You is this short film that I'm working on. However, the cinematography challenge that I'm doing right now is essentially, initially it began as I'm going to make a short form video once every other day where I am just practicing cinematography. So I'm practicing some shots. It can be about anything. There's no like limit on that. It just any idea, whatever it is, as long as I'm practicing cinematography, learning from it and having fun. Again, that's the really important component to a lot of this, is also that I'm like enjoying myself as I do this. I dropped the first video of that challenge, I think maybe 2 months ago. I very quickly realized that doing one of those short form videos every other day is just not productive. If I'm trying to learn cinematography, like I need to give myself time to pause, look at the shot, adjust some lighting, experiment with things, then have a look at what I've made, see what mistakes I did, what things I want to learn, take a second to learn those things, then try again in the next video. Doing one every other day like gives me no time to actually like sit, adjust, experiment. It sort of switches, and this is a really important thing that I have grown to understand, as dumb as it might sound. Always remember the goal of why you are beginning things. It's the same with this Scrapbook like channel and this update video. It's like, okay, Scrapbook channel exists for me to get over the perfectionism, be able to just talk to a camera, not really care too much about all of the things that I did care about. Certainly all of those perfectionist elements. Like even now in my head, I'm thinking, did that make sense what I just said? Like the point of this channel is for me to chill, let those thoughts ease, and just do stuff, right? That's the goal. So that's why I'm making this update video. I'm yapping a lot and going in circles because the goal is to calm me down and not to remove a lot of the perfectionist tendencies that I've had. So the goal of the cinematography challenge is to help me learn cinematography, not help me make content every other day. If that was the goal, fine, then I would I'd have to adjust what I'm doing just so that it's making sure that I'm hitting that arbitrary deadline of once every 2 days. But it's not. The goal is to learn cinematography. So after they dropped the first video, I was like, okay, I need to chill. I can't do it on that level. And so then I dropped the next one, I think maybe like a few weeks later. That was where I was starting to have a bit more fun with it and play around, like the natural storytelling instincts that I have and have always sort of incorporated into the work. Those start to come in a way that's quite enjoyable. So I dropped the second video and then I dropped the third video, I think maybe a month ago. And I've just finished shooting the fourth video, plan to edit that and hopefully have that out the week that this video update video drops. I'm having a ton of fun and learning a lot about cinematography in the process. Right now, the rules are that I'm solo shooting, so no one else can help me. And I'm also keeping it constrained to my apartment that I live in. I don't want to, I'll like slowly start to move and do things like outside. But right now it is very much constrained to my apartment using, the equipment that I have. And then just basically just doing it all myself. Again, the videos can be literally about anything. It's just about practicing cinematography. That is the main goal. The challenge is now also reshifted. So rather than it being one every other day, the goal is to do 30 videos in the challenge. I think in my head, I plan for the 30th video to be the Versions of You short film project that obviously started this whole thing. But we'll see. But right now, like it's 30 videos that I would like to post. What I did want to say as well, which is crazy, is that the third video that I have done in this challenge, which was called The Web, which is inspired again by the like polymath approach I'm trying to take, is that video kind of blew up. On Instagram, I think it's at like 3.2 million views. And on TikTok, I think it's at like 1.9 or 2 million views, which is quite wild. I think it's primarily because I think a lot of people related to that desire to want to learn different things and how they all sort of connect to each other. But cool, I'll take it. Again, like this, not really, I don't care as much about the views right now. My goal at the moment is to very much focus on pursuing the things I'm enjoying and then figure out the business and monetization part of it all later on. But it's sick. I think like my Instagram following, I think was like 45,000. And then I dropped that video and then it's like more than doubled to 95 or 96,000 at the moment. It's quite funny because I think a lot of people are discovering me from that and not from the main channel, which is obviously my big thing that I've had in the past. But I'm not complaining. And also I'm not going to double down just on what that video was about. Like the point is that it's part of the challenge, and regardless of however many views the next few videos get, I don't care. Like the point of it is just practice cinematography, have fun with the videos, and document it. The next thing I also want to talk about, bit of a big announcement. I do plan to start working on a main channel documentary very soon. I've had a few ideas that are circulating. We live in interesting times, so there's a lot of subject matter to dive into. I haven't yet locked in an idea, and I don't, have a set deadline in mind. But just know, for those of you that obviously just love the main channel stuff and want to see me return with some kind of documentary, know that now that's become a lot more in my field of focus in terms of like thinking of what could be the next documentary idea. Don't want to make, again, too many hard deadlines on that because I'm having a lot of fun with the cinematography and scrapbook stuff. But just know that there is definitely a lot more intention now when it comes to me returning to the main channel. Reading segment time. Sort of last year, I fell out of the habit of reading, certainly not as much as I used to. So this year I've made a bit more of a conscious effort to read, but also start diving into fiction a little bit more. I've like finished a couple books recently that I guess I'll mention. The first fiction book that I dived into was a book called Rejection by Tony Timuti, I think is how you say it. I might have butchered that surname. But I couldn't have picked a more unhinged book to dive into. I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed it. It might not be some people's, taste. I thought it was really good, and I really like how meta it starts to get at the end. Very interesting book around the concept or like theme of rejection, particularly under the lens of like, I guess like modern day dating and views around relationships and dating. And then there's also like some political commentary that can run throughout some of the short stories. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a really, really good book, but very unhinged. I'll just put that out there if you are going to read it. On a more of a lighter fiction read, I recently finished Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which I thought was good. It's sort of like a romance novel. I enjoyed the first half more than I did the second half, and it's got this sort of gaming theme to it. And being someone who was a nerd and likes video games, obviously that was kind of cool. I enjoyed how the gaming aspects of the whole story are sort of, it's a big through line throughout it all. On the nonfiction side, I think like 2 months ago I finished reading War by Bob Woodward. I thought that was a really, really good book. Kind of more of a politics related read. Just very interesting in terms of like understanding what might happen on more of a day-to-day level when it comes to running the government in the United States and what that looks like and what those meetings sound like. It's just very interesting. Very, very interesting read. I'm currently reading 2 books. One is On Photography by Susan Sontag, which is a collection of essays related to photography. The Susan Sontag, who I've never read her stuff in the past, very interesting. It's a very interesting look at photography, the, I guess, idea of what photography does and how it can corrupt this sense or this notion that photography captures, honesty and authenticity, and how that actually isn't the case. And sometimes there is a desensitizing effect that you can see in photography, particularly photography around like war or, issues around poverty. It's very interesting. I'm quite early into it. I'm sort of on the second essay at the moment because I'm taking my time and trying to write notes. But I think it's good. I think it's a good read so far. It is more of a, it's one of those dense in the sense that you have to take your time and try to understand what it is that Sontag is what points that she's trying to make. But I very much enjoy it and also find it quite relevant to a lot of the cinematography work that I'm doing now, which is also why it's a very interesting read for me at the moment. I've also recently just started reading The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. That's been okay. That's been pretty good. I think I started it because obviously, I'm trying to very much tackle and deal with my issues around perfectionism. So it's quite a relevant book to that. And also talks about a couple concepts, particularly around like self-esteem, that I think are very interesting, that have only really hit me a lot in the last, 2-3 years of my life. And it's sort of interesting seeing them laid out in the way that it is being laid out in the book so far. I do find the tone a little bit, I don't know how to say it, like maybe too American-esque. Anyway, I'm early in the book. I'm still kind of making my thoughts around it, but it's been good so far. And to finally end this update section, I will take, we got a question that comes in from WinVolt that is your best principles/advice on improving at storytelling. Obviously, this question could be answered as like a whole video, and I'm not an expert at this. I'm still very much learning a lot. And I think a part of this is also because I did a lot of like acting and I read a lot of fiction when I was younger, and I think those have built in certain intuitions around storytelling that I've not yet been able to like dissect and take out of myself, that it exists in my work, but I don't even understand what is going on or what I'm doing. So I will just keep that as a caveat. I think it's very important to reverse engineer storytelling in the sense that look at the films that you are enjoying, the TV shows that you enjoy or videos that you enjoy, and ask yourself, why do you like it? What is it about it that has you invested? Why do you enjoy watching particular characters? What is it about that is making you excited to watch this thing? And from that, you can start to piece together, I guess, elements of what exists in storytelling, whether it's like the stakes of the story and the fact that it's, this may be something about saving the world, and the fact that the stakes are so high makes it an engaging watch. Maybe it's the mystery, the way in which certain questions are being posed at the start of the story that you now, having opened that loop in your head, you almost cannot you can't just leave it. You want those questions to be asked. And then on top of that, you'd kind of dive into, well, why do I even care about that mystery in the first place? How has it been presented in such a way that makes me want to find out what the answer to this mystery is? Again, that reverse engineering process when it comes to storytelling, and really a lot of other skills and things in general. But that's a very, very important I guess, a mental tool that you can use that I would encourage you to do, especially if you feel like you haven't developed the intuition for it. That's fine. Like, it's all, you can learn and get better. But I think it's just generally a good tool is being able to reverse engineer why you are enjoying the story, what it is about it that is keeping you engrossed, and note it down, right? Like, notes on that. And you'll start to hopefully see patterns or things that you can pinpoint. And then there is actually like storytelling theory that you can then start to relate to a lot of the things that you're reverse engineering, the actual theory behind stories or story act structure. Again, I'm not like the most intelligent on any of that stuff. I'm learning a lot, but again, this is my approach to it. I hope that's helpful. If you want to keep up with the cinematography challenge stuff and the projects I'm doing, or want more of a day-to-day look at what I do, go check out my Instagram. That is like a kind of a key spot where I will do this. And obviously the Scrapbook channel is another place where I do regular updates. That being said, thank you to all of you who are watching. I will see you whenever I next see you. Wish you the best. Ciao.